What's good, Commanders fans? Just want to make a preview video for tomorrow's preseason game at 12 o'clock. Reacted to the joint practice today, and of course, not panicking or anything like that, but just made some observations and whatnot. Of course, sat back and took some time, and we kind of got a measuring stick of where our secondary is at this point. But you don't want to judge too much from the joint practice. We're going to get to see more, of course, tomorrow at 12 o'clock. But before getting started into the preview, just keys and different battles that I'm looking at, some roster battles that I'm looking at to see how guys do in the preseason against the Jets tomorrow at 12 o'clock in New York. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you guys take advantage. First-time users, 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. This is a good deal. So if I was on BetUS, guys, when you guys sign up, make sure you take advantage of this deal. This good prop here on Terry McLaurin. Over 900.5 receiving yards. Definitely smash that. I mean, come on. Every year in his career, he's gotten over 900 yards. They got that. That's a good prop on BetUS right now. That's free money on BetUS. So make sure you guys use my link down below in the description box on BetUS. Shout out to BetUS. All right, let's get to the preseason stuff. So, I mean, the main thing that I took away from yesterday, of course, is the offensive line. And we talked about this. I feel like every year we talk about the offensive line, just the concerns that we have. And did they do enough to address the depth of the offensive line and just the offensive line as a whole? I mean, we know Sam Cosmi's a good player. Tyler Biotis is a good player. Andrew Wiley kind of iffy, but, he started for years. Allegretti's okay, but, he did play in the Super Bowl. But he doesn't have a lot of starts under his belt. And then Brandon Coleman's a rookie. And then the guys behind him, Chris Paul was playing tackle. He's really a guard. Mason Brooks was out there playing left tackle yesterday. He's really a guard. Who else? We had to bring in the guy, Alex Taylor, that we brought in. A couple guys that we just brought off kind of, I'm not going to say the streets, but they were free agents that we had to bring in. They had to play meaningful snaps yesterday to protect Jaden Daniels. So, Cornelius Lucas, Chris Paul had a false start. It was offsides in one play where Jaden Daniels made a nice pass to Zach Ertz. And Michael Dieter, of course, getting playing time. Ricky Stromberg. Julian Good-Jones, who struggled throughout camp, having bad snaps. Trent Scott, who's really a swing tackle, who hasn't really played much in the league. So guys like that. And Braden Daniels, who can't even get on the field, who can barely get on the field at this point, another Ron Rivera draft pick. So there was the clip yesterday that Nicky Javala posted where Chris Paul got beat pretty badly on a spin move. But, he did a good job on the other rep. So, and then Emmanuel Forbes, he is who he is at this point. Like, this is a big year for him. This is a make or break year for him. And all I'm going to say is just, hey, let's see what the young man can do. Yesterday, it looks like he didn't make any improvements at all. But I'm not going to base everything off yesterday. Somebody did comment on my video that said that Al Harris is more of the guy who made the Dallas corners better. So I'm not going to disagree or agree on that, but Dan Quinn clearly had a big part in Trayvon Diggs improving and Deron Bland improving. So to just say it was Al Harris, that's not true. And then also Joe Witt Jr. did have a part in that too, who was the defensive pass game coordinator. So it's not like Joe Witt Jr. didn't have a part in making those guys better. So just responding to that comment yesterday. All right. But let's get to guys that I am looking at. Guys who I think is not going to play. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play tomorrow. He might. The weather's supposed to be better. I hope everybody's safe in the monsoon that's going on outside in the DMV. What's it called? Like Tornado Betty or something, like Hurricane Betty, or whatever it's called. We're under a tornado watch here, and it was raining pretty badly yesterday in New York. Probably raining bad in New York again today, but the weather should be better tomorrow, really the majority of next week. So we'll see if Aaron Rodgers does play. But it really didn't matter. Tyrod Taylor was cutting us up yesterday. And I like Tyrod Taylor. I like him as a backup. But he came in and the weather did not affect him at all. So, but yeah, obviously we're looking at Jaden Daniels. How many snaps is he going to play? I wouldn't play him many snaps at all, especially if Brandon Coleman's not going to play. Brandon Coleman may not play. It's kind of iffy per Nicky Javala. Same thing with Andrew Wiley. He's had tightness, so he probably will not play. Most likely will be Cornelius Lucas at right tackle. Brandon Coleman at left tackle if he plays, and then Brandon Coleman doesn't play, it's going to be most likely Cornelius Lucas at left tackle, and then at right tackle, it would be Trent Scott or Chris Paul or Alex Taylor. Any of those guys would be filling in. So it's kind of like you're kind of putting Jaden Daniels in a tough spot. So I think he should play still, even if the backup's playing right tackle and left tackle. But For nothing more than the first quarter, nothing more than about 3 series. Last night, Drake May, not really comparing, but just looking at the other rookies, Drake May only threw the ball, 3 times or something like that? He didn't really play much. The other guy, Joe Milton, he looked pretty darn good out there, though. I know it was against second and third string guys. But CJ Stroud last year threw 4 passes in a game. So I think we should keep it at that. No more than the first quarter. Terry McLaurin, I'm a little iffy on playing him because of the turf toe situation last year. I would just have him play in the first quarter, and that's really it for Terry McLaurin. I wouldn't play him any longer than that. And then, of course, Jeff Driscoll, Sam Hartman, you kind of look at those two guys. How do they play in the third and fourth quarter? How do they play in that second half? How do they divvy up the series and snaps for those two guys? Marcus Mariota, kind of know who he is, so I don't know if there's really a point in playing him a lot. I mean, you can play him in the second quarter, and then after that, third and fourth, you see Jeff Driscoll and Sam Hartman. So they're kind of the battle for that third spot. Are those guys going to make the practice squad, or are they going to make a roster? But real quick, before we get to other positions, a quick word from my guy Michael Vick with BetUS. All right,
Vic here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
All right. And another thing about yesterday is it's a rebuild. So there's going to be some ugly times during this season coming up. There's going to be some ugly parts in a rebuild. Not everything's going to be fixed in the first year. That's a big point too. So the secondary is, and a lot of people are bringing up Stephon Gilmore, which I may make a separate video talking about Stephon Gilmore. But I've been said I'm fine with bringing Stephon Gilmore. I really am. I'm 100% fine with bringing him in. He has familiarity with Dan Quinn and Joey Jr. They brought in everybody else from Dallas, so I don't see why not. You know, you brought in Dorrance Armstrong, you brought in Tyler Biadasz, you brought in Noah Igbenogany, who was on Dallas last year. So I don't see the problem with really bringing in another guy from Dallas. I don't think it's like the Carolina Panthers or the Commanders. But, you know, the secondary, I think just for depth purposes, we do need some depth. Emmanuel Forbes, once again, can't be trusted. Ben St. Juste had a really bad season last year. And I get people want to blame the coaching staff last year, but sometimes you gotta look at the personnel too. Like some of these guys they're just not world beaters. I'll say that. And Michael Davis, once again, he's been iffy. 1 year he's good, 1 year he's bad. We don't know where we're really gonna get from Michael Davis either. So I just think it wouldn't hurt to bring in another corner that has experience, good leadership, had a good year last year. It's not like Stephon Gilmore had a bad year last year. He had a really good year last year. He had a solid year last year. So I really think he can help this cornerback room out. But quickly, rapid fire, we'll go through the camp battles here. Wide receivers Jaden Daniels, I already talked about him. It's not really a battle. He's going to win that. He's going to start week 1. What I want to see from him is I want to see him get the ball out quick, hit the check downs. Can he get the ball down, fill the Terry McLaurin? That was one thing that we didn't see a lot from Sam Howell. The connection with him to Zach Ertz, and then also the connection with Jahan Dotson too, and also Alameda Zaccheaus, all the receivers. The timing, and then what kind of, I know they're not going to show the bag, the tricks that Cliff Kingsbury has in his bag as far as the, running plays or design runs that they may have for Jaden Daniels. I probably would stay away from that in the preseason, but just, getting the ball out quick, reading the defenses, making the right plays, getting the ball downfield to Terry, not forcing it, just taking what the defense gives them right now. So I'm not looking for crazy, spectacular plays, but just confidence, having control of the offense. That's what I'm looking for from Jaden Daniels in this game tomorrow. All right. Running backs, Chris Rodriguez versus Jeremy McNichols. Do they keep 3 or 4 guys? I think that's going to be defined by, I want to say Chris Rodriguez might have had a fumble. I know he fumbled against the Giants last year, but I feel like he had a fumble in the preseason as well. That's one of the problems that he did have at Kentucky. He did have a fumbling problem a little bit. Very talented, though, but, do they keep 3 or 4? And then receiver is going to be the most interesting spot. Especially that punt returner. I mean, the punt returner is kind of sealed by Jamison Crowder, because it basically is. But kick returner, how does Kaz Allen? If Kaz Allen does a good job returning kicks or something like that, or returning punts in the second half, maybe he makes a case. I don't see him making the roster. But Bryson Tremaine's had a heck of a camp. Mitchell Tinsley's had a heck of a camp. Mitchell Tinsley made the roster last year. So those 2 guys, who's going to make the roster if they keep 7 guys? Luke McCaffrey, how does he look? We haven't seen much from him at all. So what does Luke McCaffrey do out there? We haven't heard much noise from him. And then that's really it for the wide receiver spot. Alameda Zaccheaus is going to make the roster. De'Ami Brown's going to make the roster, I feel like. But if he does go out there and drop passes, that does drop his stock for sure. Byron Pringle, what does he do as a kick returner since they changed the rules? That's the reason why they brought him in. And then Marcus Rosemy-Jack-Saint, we haven't really heard much from him either. So does he make the practice squad at all? All right, let's move on to tight ends. Ben Sinnott, I do want to see something from him. Zach Ertz, him and Jaden Daniels have had a really good connection so far. John Bates, we already know what he is a blocking tight end. And then Cole Turner had a good preseason last year. So it's like, if he has a good preseason again, it's kind of like we can't really get too hyped up over that. But Cole Turner, we'll see if he makes the case to make the roster. Do they keep 4 tight ends? And then at the offensive line, we got, Brandon Coleman. Let's see if he plays. And then the backups like Chris Paul, Michael Dieter, Julian Good-Jones, Mason Brooks. Let's see how those guys do as well. But another thing, a huge part to me is just the quarterback room and the safety room. Looking at Tyler Owens, Derek Forrest, does he play? Tyler Owens has been making a lot of noise. Derek Forrest running with the 3s or the 2s. Does he play? If he does play, is he out there running with the 2s and the 3s and some of the guys that are fighting to make the roster? Dominique Hampton, he's a big guy. He's had a good camp so far. I want to see what he does out there too. Percy Butler, he's fighting to make the roster a little bit. And then Noah Igbenogany as well. I already talked about him as a kick returner. Want to see what he does out there. Now, guys on the bubble, Jamin Davis and Fedarian Mathis. How do those guys look out there? How does Jamin look as an edge rusher, pass rusher? Does he produce some pass rushing? Does he produce some pressure? Do they play at my linebacker a little bit with the second and third team? Does he play with the first team at all as well? That's a big question mark there too for Jamin Davis. And then for Fedarian Mathis as well. Does he get some snaps with the first team since Jerzon Newton probably won't be playing since he didn't suit up yesterday? What does Fedarian Mathis do out there? That's a big thing I'm looking at. And then Andre Jones, some of the backup edge rushers. Do they come out there and wreak havoc? Javonte John Baptiste has had a really good camp so far. Per Linnell Willingham had a good day yesterday against the Jets as well. And then KJ Henry, a guy that I like, John Ridgeway, will take a look at him. Jordan McGee has gotten a lot of hype. How does he play? Does he look like he's under control out there? We saw Quan Martin last year was looking lost at times. So do these rookies look under control and know what they're doing? Do they wrap up and tackle? Quan Martin struggled with tackling last year and in coverage. So how does Tyler Owens look out there? That was the big question mark with Tyler Owens, is that he's kind of out of control out there in coverage. So that's a big thing for him. Tyree Castro Fields has had a good camp too. Now, if Garrett Wilson does play, how does Emmanuel Forbes play against Garrett Wilson in that first quarter? That's going to be a big thing too that I'm looking at. Dorrance Armstrong had a good day yesterday. Frankie Louva had a good day yesterday. The whole pass rush had a good day yesterday per a lot of beat reporters. So I'm intrigued to see how those guys do as well. Because we don't have like one dominant pass rusher. I know John Allen's a good pass rusher. Deron Payne's a good pass rusher, but we don't have like a star pass rusher, or in the past we had guys who were supposed to be star pass rushers. We just don't have that big name. And it's fine not to have a big name pass rusher, but Dorrance Armstrong had a good year last year, a good 2 seasons in a row, and he had a good day yesterday again against the Jets. But I do want to see, how do we create pressure? We may not see that in these preseason games, but I just want to see how it looks. How does Michael Davis look as well? Chiggy as well. Chiggy Anuzium, he got a lot of hype because he had a nice contract, a nice UDFA contract. So I really want to see how he plays tomorrow as well. Then Mikey Sanders still, of course, he's been getting a lot of praise. Nick Javala said that he's a stud and that he's a baller after watching him at Jets practice yesterday. And then the last but not least is the kicker situation. Riley Patterson versus Ramiz Ahmed. Both did not look good yesterday. I think Riley Patterson was 3 for 5. Ramiz Ahmed was 2 for 5. And Ramiz Ahmed has not looked good really throughout minicamp and training camp, or really training camp at this point. And how does the long snapper look too, Tyler Ott? Because we had some problems last year with long snapping. So how does he play tomorrow? So, because we may have to get somebody off the streets or somebody that's waived later on in the preseason. So that's a big question mark for tomorrow. How do these guys do on extra points? How do they do on field goals? If we're able to do that, how do these guys perform in a competition tomorrow? So, but you guys let me know what you guys think. Is there any other position battles or anybody that you guys are looking at tomorrow? Is Colson Yankoff still on the roster? No, he might be on the roster. I am intrigued to see how he plays. I'm intrigued to see him in that fourth quarter. Colson Yankoff, if he can make some plays. I feel like he's going to get a nice catch or something like that. And Fulman will get like a touch. Some random player is going to get a touchdown tomorrow. Some random guy in the fourth quarter for sure. It probably will be Jeremy McNichols, if I had to bet on it, or one of the running backs like Chris Rodriguez. But or Mitchell Tinsley, once again, getting another touchdown like he did last year. But that's about it for me, guys. Once again, make sure you guys check out BetUS. First time users, your first 3 deposits, you get 125% sign up bonus up to $2,000. Man, it's a good deal. Like I said, take advantage of that Terry McLaurin prop of over 900 yards. You guys let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after the game. Health Commanders. Peace.